Imagine being left to fend for yourself against the coronavirus, as your home is threatened by demolition and your family is living under military occupation. That is the reality for Palestinians living in the village of Al-Walaja. Al-Walaja is one of hundreds of Palestinian towns and villages located in Area C of the occupied West Bank. Under the Oslo Accords, 60% of the West Bank was put under full Israeli security and civilian control. That means that everything from law enforcement to planning and construction is under the control of the Israeli military, making villages like this extremely susceptible to things like displacement and home demolitions.
احنا بفلسطين بشكل عام ومناطق سي بالاخص يعني بنعاني من هجمات شرسه من الاحتلال، يعني تهجير، هدم بيوت، اعتداء على السكان، مصادره اراضي، مضايقات، كله يعني شو يعني بتهيأ لك شيء سيء يعني بتواجد في مناطق سي يعني من الحكومه الاسرائيليه.
During the coronavirus pandemic, Palestinians living in Area C are facing a new set of challenges.
هذا كل شيء فقدناه اليوم، انت بدك تضلك قاعد ببيتك، انت مش قادر بعد الجدار، ما بتقدر تزور ارضك، ما بتقدر تتحرك، يعني هذا كله اثر سلبا علينا يعني. انت محاط بفيروس، محاط باحتلال، يعني
شيء صعب كثير.
صعب كثير، صعب الوضع.
Because Al-Walaja is located in Area C, the Palestinian Authority has been prevented from helping with containment efforts here. The Israeli government, who is legally responsible for civilian affairs and development in Area C, have provided nothing for its Palestinian subjects in the way of coronavirus testing, treatment, or containment efforts. In fact, Palestinians say that Israel has done the opposite and has actively been hindering their efforts to curb the spread of the virus in their communities. When the coronavirus first hit the West Bank, residents of the village set up this flying checkpoint in order to control who was coming in and out of the village. But just hours after setting up the checkpoint, Israeli soldiers came into the village, pushed these cement blocks to the side, and told the residents that they weren't allowed to be here. Despite the devastating effects that the coronavirus is having on Palestinian towns and cities, Israel has not let up from enforcing its policy of home demolitions in places like Al-Walaja. Since the beginning of 2020, Israel has destroyed at least 314 Palestinian homes and structures in Area C. I'm in the middle of Al-Walaja right now, but I'm in Area C. That means that most of these houses around me are considered to be illegal by Israel, even though they've been built on privately owned Palestinian land. There are dozens of houses in Al-Walaja that have demolition orders against them, including the one right behind me there. That house was just ordered to be demolished last week. Residents here fear that if their houses are demolished in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, they'll be left displaced and homeless with nowhere to go.
احنا تقريبا 5 افراد، انا عندي 3 بنات وانا ومرتي، وعايشين في بيت صغير، بنيت عشان نتوسع، وصار لي 2 تقريبا وحطيت كل تعبي فيه. ومتمني يعني اليوم قبل بكره اطلع اسكن فيه. حلم كل واحد في هذه القريه انه يبني بيت في ارضه في كل حريته، بدون ما يعني هم الاحتلال بدون ما يتدخلوا. ما تركونا في حالنا في فتره وباء الكورونا وبدا يكفينا، وهيهم كل يوم داخلين طالعين على البلد، مش مخلين حدا لا يبني براحته ولا يسوي إشي.
But while home demolitions in places like Al-Walaja continue to happen during the pandemic, Israeli citizens living in West Bank settlements, which are considered illegal under international law, are leading completely different lives. Unlike the Palestinian residents of this village, the Israeli settlers behind us have the freedom to live in ways that the Palestinians here can only dream of.
يعني أنا مش قادر أبني أبسط شيء، مش قادر أبني طابق، لو طابق إنه الواحد يقدر يبني طابق واحد بمنعوه بالمرة يعني. أما بالنسبة لهم هم ما في مشكلة، هم لهم حرية كل شيء، يعني حرية العيش، حرية التنقل، حرية الترفيه، أي شيء موجود يعني، أي شيء كويس يعني هم لهم حقية فيه، ولكن إحنا ما لنا حقية بشيء بالمرة.
The situation in Al-Walaja is a reality shared by thousands of Palestinians living in Area C in the West Bank. It's estimated that between 180 to 300,000 Palestinians are living in these areas, and are being left to fight COVID-19 on their own.
لما أنت كاحتلال بتستغل وجود وباء وبتيجي لسه أنت تزيد خلينا نقولها النار نارين، فأنت وين الإنسانية في الموضوع يعني؟ ما فيش يعني هم مجردين من أي إحساس بالإنسانية.
As COVID-19 continues to spread with over 30,000 cases in the Palestinian territory, communities in Area C continue to be disproportionately impacted by both the coronavirus and the occupation.